All of the naturally occurring solids in the universe are rocks. The solid portion of our entire planet, except for the outer core, are rocks. The outer core is liquid. Why are there so many distinct types of rocks? Many different processes can produce rocks, and many different materials can make up rocks. Because of the relationship between rock type and the process of formations, rocks provide us with a record of geologic events over Earth's history and give us insight into the interaction among components of the Earth system. For the granite that comprised the rocks of the mountains in this photograph, they were formed about 10 kilometers deep within the Earth, and many different geologic processes allowed these rocks to now be exposed at the Earth's surface. This is a rocky chondrite, a meteorite that struck Frank Campy's dentist's office during the night. The meteorite went through the roof and a couch before burying itself about a foot in the concrete slab. This rock tells us about the origin and the age of the solar system. All of the thousands of meteorites tested have an age of 4.56 billion years, and they formed by the same processes and at the same time as our planet. That is truly amazing. In this lecture, we will cover the geologic definition of a rock, how rocks are classified into 3 classes, the physical characteristics of rocks, and the rock cycle. To a geologist, a rock is a naturally occurring, coherent solid that consists of an aggregate of minerals or glass. A rock is coherent, that is, it holds together and must be broken in order to separate it into smaller pieces. As a result of its coherence, rocks can form cliffs, like we see in the figure taken at St. Helena Canyon at Big Bend National Park in Texas. A pile of unattached mineral grains, like sand, does not constitute a rock, as we see in the foreground of this image. Sand is not coherent and therefore not a rock. Geologists consider only materials formed by natural processes to be rocks. Manufactured products such as concrete, brick, or asphalt are not rocks. Most rocks consist as an aggregate of many mineral grains or crystals. Example A is a granite and contains quartz, potassium, feldspar, hornblende, and mica mineral crystals. Grains are generally considered broken crystals. In example C are rocks that contain only one kind of mineral, calcium carbonate, like the white marble found in Thasos, Greece. Example B is obsidian, a natural glass formed by the quick quenching or cooling of lava. Grains and rocks connect to form a coherent mass because natural cement, composed of minerals that precipitated from water in the space between the grains, glues or binds them together. Rocks whose grains are held together by cement are called clastic rocks. The clastic rock in this image is sandstone. Mineral crystals in rocks that are interlocked with one another and fit together like a jigsaw puzzle are called crystalline rocks. The granite in this image is a crystalline rock. At the surface of the Earth, some rock occur either as broken chunks or fragments called sediment, such as sand, pebbles, cobbles, or boulders that collect at the bottom of a slope or are transported by ice, water, or wind, or they occur as bedrock that remains attached to the Earth's crust. Geologists refer to an exposure of bedrock as an outcrop. Outcrops can be natural, like this outcrop in Colorado, or they can be human-derived, like this railroad cut in Illinois. Look at this image and determine which picture would not be considered a rock. If you chose B, you would be correct. Why? Because it is a pile of unconsolidated sand grains or sediment. When the systematic study of geology began in the 18th century, Geologists grappled with the challenge of developing a meaningful classification scheme for rocks. Classification helps organize information and helps to emphasize similarities and differences. James Hutton, the father of modern geology, is credited for the genetic scheme, a scheme based on the origin or genesis of rocks. In that scheme, igneous rocks formed by freezing or the solidification of molten rock called magma or lava. Magma is molten rock found within the earth, and lava is molten rock found on the surface of the earth. Magma, because it is found within the earth, it is called plutonic or intrusive. When molten rock is extruded upon the surface of the earth, it is called lava. Lava is an extrusive rock. Magma is an intrusive plutonic rock. On the left is an example of layered lavas, an extrusive structure. On the right is a massive plutonic structure. On the left is basalt from the Columbia River basalt group found in the Columbia River Gorge. On the right are granitic plutonic structures that were part of a large solidified magma chamber that is now exposed in Yosemite National Park in California. Sedimentary rocks form either by cementing together grains broken off of pre-existing rocks or by the precipitation of mineral crystals out of water or gas solutions at or near the Earth's surface. In this image, sand formed from grains eroded off the rock cliffs collects on the beach. If buried and turned to rock or lithified, it becomes layers of sandstone, such as those making up the outcrop. The original rock, once exposed to the surface, are eroded by two processes, either physical erosion or chemical erosion. Physical erosion, or weathering, describes the process of rocks changing their physical properties without changing the basic chemical composition. The rocks are broken into rock and mineral fragments that are transported to a basin and become buried over time and eventually lithified by compaction and cementation into a clastic sedimentary rock. Lithification, sediments of either type accumulate in layers, compress under their own weight and/or what buries them, and with cements from a hardened mass. One example is sandstone, shown in the photograph on the right. Chemical erosion, also called chemical weathering, causes the breakdown and decay of rocks or other geologic features through a chemical process. Chemical dissolution of the rocks dissolve the minerals into individual ions in water. They are then transported in the water until they precipitate back out of the water to form a chemical sedimentary rock. An example is gypsum, as shown in the photograph on the left. Sometimes in the chemical weathering cycle, the ions will form mineral clasts, and by compaction and cementation form into clastic sedimentary rock. An example is oolitic limestone, shown in the center photograph. Metamorphic rock forms when pre-existing rocks endure changes in temperature and pressure and are subjected to shearing, stretching, or shortening. New minerals and textures form. In the example, a granite, an igneous rock, can be metamorphosed into a metamorphic rock called gneiss. Regional metamorphism covers large areas of continental crust, typically associated with mountain ranges, particularly those associated with convergent tectonic plates or the roots of previously eroded mountains. Contact metamorphism occurs typically around intrusive igneous rocks or magma chambers as a result of the temperature increase caused by the intrusion of magma into cooler country rock. Hydrothermal metamorphism is the result of the interaction of a rock with a high temperature fluid or of variable composition. This is a summary of the three classes of rocks. We will be discussing each rock class over the next few lectures. Know this chart. There will be questions pertaining to this chart on all 3 exams. Given enough time, all rocks will recycle. Igneous rocks can change into metamorphic rock through heat and pressure up to the point of melting. However, once the metamorphic rock is melted, then it becomes an igneous rock. Metamorphic rock through uplift, erosion, and lithification can become a sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rocks, subject to enough heat and pressure, may become a metamorphic rock. If the sedimentary rock melts and cools, it can become an igneous rock. Igneous rocks through uplift, erosion, and lithification may become sedimentary rocks. So, igneous rocks can become metamorphic or sedimentary or remelt and become a different igneous rock. Metamorphic rocks can become either a sedimentary rock or an igneous or change metamorphic conditions and become a different metamorphic rock. And finally, sedimentary rock can become either an igneous rock or a metamorphic rock or re-eroded and become a different sedimentary rock.